KMC here. Today, I've got a real special treat for you. I got a chance to sit down with my good friend, Karen Mason, who is a singer and performer extraordinaire, one of my favorite cabaret performers. She's been on Broadway. She has graced the stages of Carnegie Hall. She has done cabaret rooms all over. And she's been doing theater. She's been in touring companies. She really is just one of my favorite all-time people. And I'm so glad I got a chance to catch up with her. I've known her since 1984 or 83. It's been a long time. And we just haven't had a chance to sit down and talk to each other because of our busy schedules. But luckily I was able to catch her for a KMC chat today. And I hope you enjoy it. Let's bring her on. Hey everybody, Karen Mason. Hi Karen.
Yay!
Thank you for joining me. I'm going to raise my glass right now to you as we start our.
Thank you, back at you.
It's always good to see you, and
been a long time, Keith.
It has. I think the last time we were in person together would be at Love Never Dies. I think.
Yeah.
We came out to see you there, and
like what, 3 years ago? 2, 3
has it
years
been that long?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. Maybe two or three. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. That was fun. That was a fun show. So, but
yeah, you can't get enough of that. Phantom of the Opera, Death and Destruction. Yeah.
And you did that for a long time too. I mean, you toured. I know my friends in Chicago got to see you.
Yeah.
And then we got to see you out in where did we go? Segerstrom, I think maybe.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was fun. But so I've known Miss Karen Mason. I met Karen in 1983 or 84. My husband, Mark Dubner, who most of my viewers know who I'm talking about. And of course you do too. Mark introduced me to Karen back in the 80s and fell in love with her immediately. And we've been really good friends and friends with your sister Kim, and got to know your whole family. It's just been so much fun to be on your journey through your career. And
thanks, Keith.
I think that you are one of these people that you just keep going. You've been working consistently since I've known
you. Which is a long freaking time.
Isn't that great though? I mean, it's great. And you had you started out doing singing waitress, right?
Well, I was never a waitress. I was a hostess because they wouldn't let me be a waitress because I had no skills. And so I got to be, they hired me for the singing part, and I got to be, they figured, where can we put her that she won't destroy anything? And that's why I got to be a hostess, although I didn't do a very good job with that either. Oh. So that's why they just kind of let me stand there and then go up and sing every once in a while and then come back out. Yeah.
So they did let you sing. So
yes, they did. Yeah. Yeah.
I remember you once said that you sat people aesthetically.
Yes, that's right. A certain number of blondes, brunettes, and redheads in every station. Yeah.
Well, that's fun. So is that when you met Brian? Was Brian doing that?
Yes, that is exactly when I met him. I went and auditioned at that restaurant in Chicago called Lawrence of Oregano's. And they were hiring singing waiters and waitresses. And I just wanted to go and be close to people who were getting paid for doing what I was doing for free out in the burbs, doing community theater. And when I went, I was a mess. I was so scared, so nervous about all of it. And they hired me, but then they told me I had to come back to sing for their music director, who was the final approval. And that turned out to be Brian Lasser, who I worked with for 16 years. And he and I went back in and sang "Don't Rain on My Parade." And very loudly, of course. And we just fell in love with each other's talents and personalities. And, it was just a match made in heaven, as they say.
And yeah. He was so talented, so talented.
Yes, he was. Yeah.
So when I first started to see you perform in cabaret shows and stuff, Brian was the accompanist, and
yeah,
it was always fun. We're going to go see Karen and Brian. We're going to see Karen and Brian. And he was equally an attraction too. He was so handsome,
Oh.
and he played the piano with such vigor, and it was fun. And then he sang with you a couple times too, and it was lovely. And
Well, to be honest, I never thought of it as Karen Mason with Brian Lasser. To me, it was always, we were a duo.
oh,
Brian was the one who said, I think it's better if it just be Karen Mason, and then he just felt it was easier to, I don't know, market. Like either one of us was very
yeah.
good at it at all. But
Well,
yeah, he just felt that it was easier to market us, a female singer than it was to market a duo. But he was, I mean, there was no doubt in my mind that it was the two of us together.
and
Yeah.
it was a dynamic pairing, and it's still so much fun. And we have some recordings, or you have some stuff with you and him, and
Yeah.
I've seen some YouTubes out there. People go look for it. It's wonderful.
Well, it's funny. We after he died in '92, I we really didn't have too much of the two of us working together. My first CD was with Brian, thank God. But then after that, I didn't really have an awful lot because he and I really we stunk at that kind of stuff. We just never really thought in terms of keeping documentation of anything. And but after it was, oh God, my husband Paul Rolnick found an old tape that I had, after Brian died, I got a lot of his stuff.
Right.
Found an old tape that Brian had done where he had done an arrangement of "It's very clear our love is here to stay." And it was with another singer. Well, Paul, being the brilliant producer that he is, stripped the other singer off. And, honestly, it took me about 15 years to get up the courage to sing with that track because I thought, I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I can do it. And finally, when I did, it was just totally joyful. I think it's either on the last CD or the one before
Yes.
it. Yeah.
Beautiful. It's beautiful. Paul did so, well. Paul's been so great for you too. I mean, he is amazingly talented, and
He's handy.
he is, and he supports you so well. You support him so well. It's a great union there too. That's wonderful. I'm going to go back to your first CD, uh, Not So Simply Broadway. Now, originally, the original cover was the Scribnesky of you.
Yes.
And then when you re-released, it was a different. Is there a reason for that, or because I loved that original cover?
Yeah. No, I have not an answer to that.
Oh,
I just think I think I just wanted to do something new. Since we had to remaster it, it was a totally new thing. I think I was just looking to, make something new, totally new across the board. Yeah,
the
that Scribnesky, Victor Scribnesky. I mean, really, I have two of them. I have one hanging on my wall in my living room, and that was the first one. And then he did the other one, which I like to call the white Diana Ross, because Diana Ross had one that was kind of the moon face too, and it's a iconic. He
uh,
was so brilliant, that man.
I mean,
I
how
was so
lucky?
lucky to do
Yeah,
City.
I mean, how lucky for you to have had that happen.
Oh,
He was
yeah.
brilliant, and I just wanted to say how much I loved that. I like the new one too. Don't get me wrong. I still listen.
I didn't take it personally.
Yeah, okay, good. The music is still fantastic, and it remains seriously one of my favorite CDs of all time that I listen
No
to.
kidding.
Yeah, I
Well,
just
thank
well,
you.
it reminds me, and it's of the when you started, and I remember
Yeah.
I've seen you do every one of those numbers that was on there, So that part was fun. So and then you went to New York and started all this cabaret stuff, and then you started doing the Broadway stuff in the theater. And Brian had Brian already passed when you started that?
No, no, no. I got my first Broadway show in '82. 80, it was called Play Me a Country Song. Yes, everyone's favorite show. And yeah, that no one knows that they know. It closed on opening night. It was, I mean, I was so excited to get that show. I couldn't believe how excited I was. And then to have it be not anything like I thought a Broadway production would be.
Yeah.
You know, it was really disorganized, and there was an awful lot of infighting with the writers and the directors and the yeah, it was really a big old mess. And so when it closed on opening night, it was yeah, it was very, you know, it was kind of like I was destined to close on opening night, but it was still a disappointment for my first Broadway show.
Yeah.
I
So,
still have the buckle, actually. I think I might have it right here.
oh, now look at that. That is,
I found it the other day.
oh,
They gave us belt buckles for opening night. Can you see? Yeah.
yeah.
Isn't that hysterical? Play me a country song.
Oh, is there a cast recording of that show?
No. No. They changed. They were changing music almost as we were setting foot on stage. I went from having no numbers to, you know, being background. My character was Frances, who sat at a bar the entire show. And then suddenly, during previews, I think it was like the last week of previews, they gave me, the director had left. We have a brand new director. The writers are arguing, and they gave me a brand new song that I, to this day, somebody said, "Oh yeah, I remember that song. I really liked it." It was like, I have no idea what that was. It was kind of like a blur. So yeah, I mean, it was there was some actually sweet music from it. The guy who was the writer wrote the, oh shoot, what was his name? Frank? I think it was Frank. He wrote some of the themes from like I don't, it wasn't Halloween, but of those genre
Oh, uh-huh.
of movies. And so he wrote some of the themes from that. And that some of the songs, actually in one of the cabarets I did here at Don't Tell Mama, like 4 or 5 years ago, we did the, you know, play me a country song. It's a pretty song. It really is. Really pretty.
And no chances of reviving that anywhere.
I pray to God, no.
I I thought maybe there would be like you just did with Mamma Mia. You know, we get the whole cast back together, and you can talk about "Play Me a Country Song."
Well, you know, Play Me a Country, it's funny because it really was a terrific cast. I mean, it was,
Anyone else?
Mary Gordon Murray was in it. And she was, I mean, she's a killer. And so many great people. A lot of them are gone now. A lot of because it was during the 80s. And in New York, that was when we started losing a lot of friends and family and to AIDS. So a lot of those, you know, a lot of show business was pretty decimated by that.
What was the next thing for you professionally after that?
I think it was, I think it was Jerome Robbins, maybe.
When did you do Torch Song?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So Torch Song was kind of sandwiched in there
Okay.
because what happened was during rehearsal, I had been auditioning. My agent, knowing, seeing the writing on the wall about Play Me a Country Song, was sending me out for other auditions, and I went and auditioned. Barry Moss, who was a big casting director at the time, brought me in. Sweet Barry Moss brought me in, and I auditioned for Harvey and, you know, all the powers that be for the Torch Singer because they were moving it from off Broadway to on Broadway. So I auditioned. They really liked me. They offered me the job. Play Me a Country Song would not let me out of my contract because I was way too valuable. And so I lost that. I mean, I tried everything short of offering to buy myself out of my contract, and they would not do it. So I really, yeah. So Susan Edwards, who has become a friend, got to do it. And when she went on vacation, I took over for her vacation. So that's when I did Torch Song.
That's how you did that show.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But you were the original, though, right? You should have been the original.
Well, in my mind,
Okay, I'm going with that.
I was the original.
I'm going to go with that, too.
Contractually, Susan is.
Yeah. So did you do that for her, the Broadway production of it? Was it on Broadway when you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was like 2 weeks.
So the first thing I saw you in was Jerome Robbins Broadway.
Yeah.
That was one of my first trips to New York that we came out to see you in. And you were so wonderful in it. And you took us backstage. We got to see, first time I was ever on a Broadway stage.
It's exciting, isn't it?
Well,
I mean,
yeah, and your excitement about it too was so natural and real. And you let us say hi to people who were in the show. and it was kind of fun. And what a great moment for any actor, actress, singer that you had in that show. It was the show-stopping number. I mean, what a number.
Yeah, it was. I mean, listen, Debbie Gravitt won a Tony for it, and when she left, she just got, they had been rehearsing for 6 months before they even started rehearsals. So it was a long journey for all of those people. And she just, after she, I think she was starting a family. There were a lot of reasons she left, and I got the gig, and it was perfect. So it was that one, it was 62 people in that cast. It will never happen again on Broadway. 62 people, 62 dancers. Well, I take that back. 61 dancers and the singer and the non-dancer. And I loved every minute of it. To be able to watch that Jerome Robbins choreography. I mean, I've always wished that I were a dancer also. And to see that magnificent dancing and choreography every night, to watch that Somewhere ballet, I'm telling you, when he lifts her into that white light, yikes. It is so, that is true. It just takes your breath away. It
was a wonderful show of really capturing the greatest moments of.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And, so it's the moment that I got to do Mazeppa, I got to learn how to play the trumpet. And, on Broadway, when you're taking over a role, you basically have 2 weeks rehearsal. That's it. So that includes your put in with the company. So you have 2 weeks. And they said to me, you can either play the trumpet. Do you know how to play the trumpet? I was like, I could learn. And, but they said, if you want, we could have somebody in the pit play it. And I thought, hell no. Yeah, no. I'm not letting anybody. So I would I'd come home from rehearsals with my little trumpet case and, at 10:30 at night, be trying to blast it onto the side of my couch so that I wouldn't make any noise and wake up my neighbors. And I mean, the splats that came out of that horn were hysterical. And they said, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. The worse it is, the better it'll be.
And that's true for that show. It really is. But you did great in that. You really did.
I love that. And also singing Mr. Monotony was just, it was a joy. One moment in the entire show where you stand in a pool of light in a low-cut black velvet dress with a fabulous orchestration.
It was wonderful. And I had never really heard that song ever before. And now I've researched it, obviously, and it has such a history in
it is. It's truly amazing. Yeah.
It's where it is. And but you were the first person to introduce it to me, so I thank you for that. And actually, it's funny you were talking. Debbie has performed in Palm Springs, and Mark and I got to meet her after her show. We talked about you and everything. Oh. She was so sweet. She was so sweet.
She's a great gal, man. She is.
And she talked about she took some time off, had a family, and she did a wonderful show here in Palm Springs, and it was a pleasure. We met her afterwards, and we chatted, and it was fun. It was fun to hear her talk. And I have to give you 2 shout outs. two of my friends, Lucy Arnaz and Jason Gra, told me
Oh,
I needed to tell you hello. So,
well, you tell them hello back, or I will let them know afterwards.
when I was doing Lucy's chat, actually Lucy was the date, one of the dates you had chosen that we were going to do it, and you and I postponed. But she told me to give you her best,
Oh,
as I knew that
she's
you were going to.
amazing.
She's the royalty
Yeah.
in Palm Springs here, so we love her. And Jason Gry just actually was texting with this morning. He's a nutbag, and you introduced me to him too when he performed in Chicago. You told Mark and I go see him, and then we fell in love with him. But he told me to tell you that he loves you dearly, and he means it.
He would always say to me right before we did a concert together, and before I went on stage, "Can I swear on this show?"
Of course.
Oh, okay. He said, he just leaned over to me, and I thought he was going to say something really lovely, and he says, "Just don't fuck it up." Like, thanks.
He,
I love him.
he's got such a presence. He knows how much I love him too. So,
And I mean, there's nothing the man cannot do.
plays the oboe.
Yeah.
He plays the oboe.
Well,
Oh, no, very good. Yeah, he studied it. It was, yeah. Can we talk? I know that you've done so much stuff. Can I jump to,
yeah, you're sure.
I want to jump to Sunset Boulevard.
Uh-huh.
I had the pleasure and house seats. Thank you, Karen Mason. Glenn Close's house seats, but yeah, right. That's what you said. I don't care. They were your house seats. We got to
When she wasn't there, yes, they were mine.
Yeah, we call it Karen Mason seats. And we were so lucky. A group of us came to see you actually. What a phenomenal show that was, and what an opportunity for you. Where did that start out for you? Because you were with it from the beginning.
Yes, well, in the U.S., yes,
Yeah,
I
right,
did
right.
it. Yeah, in Los Angeles I think we were there for almost a year, and then we came back to New York. We moved to New York.
So the LA cast was quite troublesome getting it together. Am I correct on that?
I
Uh,
don't.
I-
Where
I-
have you heard this?
well, no, I mean there were so many people trying to do that LA company. I remember Faye Dunaway had something.
Oh, you mean when when Glenn was leaving?
That must have been it. I'm sorry. That's right.
Oh.
She had already done it. That's right.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, because the cast was phenomenal. I mean, it was a great group of people who, here's the thing about Broadway is that these were all people who had had principal roles at some point. And, you go for the work. You go because you want to work and you want to do a project that sounds interesting. And so it was a phenomenal cast of principals, in the ensemble and in roles. I mean, it was a really powerful group. And, when Glenn left, when she said that it was, when she was leaving, yeah, they were looking for, somebody to take over, and it was fascinating.
Yeah, I'm sure it was fun.
It was really interesting just, to hear all the names bandied about.
Yeah.
And what was just so bizarre was that they asked if I would, cover between the time that Glenn left and the new person came in. And when Faye Dunaway was chosen, I actually did get to see one of her rehearsals. I snuck myself in because I figured it was like I wanted to see what she was doing, what I could steal, actually.
Yeah, well, of course.
Yeah. And she would have been listen, she's a brilliant actor, and she's got a very strange, aura around
yeah.
her. I mean, she can do strange really well. And it was fascinating to watch. It probably would have been a very long show because there was in film, they can cut down, and on stage, you can't quite take
It just keeps
all that
going.
time. And since she had never sung, listen, she didn't cast herself, somebody else cast her and said, "Yeah, let's give her a shot." And the poor lady was trying her best, and that's a bitch of a score. It's hard. It's hard for singers.
Yeah.
So to have somebody who's never sung on a stage was kind of an unfair, mantle to put on her.
And you had told us at the time that the costumes too. I think you said one of your gowns weighed a ton for you to. Was it when you come down the stairs and stuff? I mean,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's the beaded jumpsuit with the beaded coat over it. And in reality, I think Glenn had them take off all the beading on the back of the jumpsuit. So, because you never saw it, so you were carrying around more beads than you needed to, but they wouldn't do that for me. So I got to carry around the whole Megillah of beads, which was fine. I didn't wear it as often as she did, so it was.
how many times did you go on? Do you remember? How many?
Listen, it's gone. It's been inflated and deflated so many times. I'm not quite sure, but I think it's over 200 and like 220.
That's well. I was fortunate to see one of those productions. That was
I loved doing that show. It was, whew.
now. So and then Lloyd Webber. Did you meet him at that time, way back? And that before then Love Never Dies comes up.
Well, ish. At the opening night party, I mean, the thing in Britain is that covers, understudies, covers, standbys. Nobody in the artistic staff really deals with them, and so they don't really know them. And so on opening night, he actually thanked me for being there. Oh my God, I laughed so hard. It was like, I'm in your show. I didn't say that, but so I didn't really I wasn't really on his radar until I have to say this was kind of cool that I wish I had taken pictures. See, this is me with cameras. I wish I had been better about taking pictures. When I had spent about 5 grand on a publicist, so between Glenn and when Faye was coming in, because they kept saying it's going to be 4 days, it's going to be 3 days, it's going to be 2 months, it's going to be, I mean, it kept changing, which should have been a clue to me that it wasn't going to work out. But so I hired a publicist because I thought, okay, this is my shot. I'm going to be doing a frickin' lead, taking over for Glenn Close. I'm sandwiched between these two brilliant stars. And I'm going to I'm going to hire a publicist. So I did. I got some nice press. And during rehearsal, it was my first rehearsal with, oh, shoot, what is his name? He was coming in to take over for Alan. Oh, he was a teen idol, and what's his name? Oh, shoot. He was in the Pirates of Penzance on Broadway.
Oh, is that Rex?
Yes, it's Rex Smith.
Yes.
Okay, so Rex Smith was coming in for his first rehearsal, and I was there, of course, prompt and early, and he wasn't showing up. And I didn't know what was going on, and I got a phone call from Nina Lannon, who was the company manager, general manager at the time, and she told me that they were closing the show. This was on a Thursday. She told me they were closing the show on Sunday at Glenn's last performance. That's how I found out, standing in the laundry room on the phone backstage. But Andrew Lloyd Webber, I mean, listen, he can say thank you for coming to the opening night party all he wants to me. What he did was he invited me, he apologized to me for, what happened. And he, was so kind, and he invited me to his apartment in New York up at Trump Tower. And I went and met him and got to speak with him for, a nanosecond. But how generous that was, how aware that he of that had cost me, a nice little chunk of change, and I wasn't making what Glenn was or Faye. And I thought it was a very lovely gesture. So I was sold, at that point. And then to get to work with him in Love Never Dies was really exciting.
That's I just that whole thing just it's kind of full circle for you too. And did he see you perform in Sunset? Did he see you do the show?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, they'll all tell you that they all told me that they loved my performance, but who knows whether they actually saw it. You know, I don't know. Maybe I know that a lot of times they do film, even though they're not supposed to, but they do it so that they can see. And so I think I probably, listen, they wouldn't have given it to me between those two ladies if they hadn't seen the performance
Oh,
and
that's true.
signed off on it.
Yeah. Wow.
So,
That was wonderful. I mean, it was wonderful. Let's talk a little bit about Candor and Ebb.
ah,
I saw you when you were I went to the Olympia Dukakis Theater, and I don't even remember. That was before it even came to be a show, if I'm not mistaken. You were in.
yeah, it was still kind of in workshop-ish at the Whole Theater in New Jersey. Yeah.
And then the cast that it ends up being in the recording is not the entire cast that was doing the show then, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. When it moved, they made a couple of changes. Yeah.
And I think in the original, help me out there, was it Paige O'Hara or was it?
Yeah,
It was
Paige O'Hara.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. She
Yeah,
was,
who asked? Please. She did just fine.
yeah, she went into the princess business right after that. If I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken. So yeah, I think she was okay. No, that was a great show, and you got to roller skate, as I remember.
Well, yes, I did. Yes, quite beautifully. And I I fancied myself a fairly adept roller skater until on opening night I fell flat on my butt. Actually, I fell on my back, but yeah, that hurt a little bit. And I like to blame it on Bob Cuccioli, who was standing next to me, and he started to lose his balance. He was worse than I was, to be honest. We were kind of like the really bad ones on skates, and he started to lose his balance. It was on the kick line, and if you're not on that rubber stopper on the front, you're screwed. And he started to lose his balance, and it was like, oh shit, going down. And so I went straight back. And my dear friend Jimmy Walton, as people are kind of like that, he starts with, "Help, I've fallen and I can't get up." Yeah. So at least we got a laugh out of it. And Scott Ellis asked me if I could do that 8 times a week. And I said no.
I would have said for a lot more money. That would have been. It was a fantastic show, and then that went on to go on off Broadway for a while. I mean,
Yeah, we were there I left after 7 months, and I know because Marin Mazey took over for me.
she she did the tour, as I remember too. I saw her in Chicago.
Did they do a tour?
Yeah, I saw it in Chicago, and you weren't in it. So
Wow.
there was a tour, and the woman playing your part only made it halfway through the show, and then Marin came in and did the second half. I forgot, something happened. It was very strange.
Oh,
And
wow.
so, but I got to see Marin do some of the stuff that you did, which was great.
Oh, how cool.
She was fantastic.
Yeah, she sure was.
Wow. And then, so Candor and Ebb, have they been part of your life still? I mean, do you still, well, I mean, you do their music still, I'm assuming, yeah? Colored Lights.
See, yes. I mean, they've been always very generous to me. I listen, I would have loved to have been in every show that they wrote. That's not always in the cards, but every chance I got, I would take to sing their music. I love their music. As a matter of fact, we just did a full show of Candor and Ebb music. We did it out at out at Barrington Stage in Massachusetts. Not last Was it last summer? Summer 2 summers ago? I don't know. It's all kind of a pandemic blur now.
Of course.
But it's a great show. We were supposed to do it at Birdland this fall, and there you go. And out at Palm Springs, actually, we were talking with the Purple Room about bringing it out there. So, yeah,
Someday.
yeah, it would be great.
You were out here in Palm Springs doing the Cabaret '88 series, I remember.
At the Annenberg?
The Edinburgh Theater, yeah.
Yeah.
That was so much fun, and
Beautiful space.
they've done a great job with that whole series. It's fun, and we were lucky enough to get in to see you because it sells out and you can't get in. We were in the wings, but it was good. It was okay. It was okay. I loved coming to see you. And then of course our friend, our Palm Springs Sal Nostretta, our buddy Sal. He knows you from showbiz too. I forget what
He knows me from Sunset Boulevard.
That's right. That's where it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. When we went out afterwards, we had fun with you, and it was a pleasure. So yeah, we want you to come back to Palm Springs because
I keep trying.
I know. It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
All right.
After all of this craziness.
Post-COVID.
Please, yeah. Because tell me a little bit about what you're doing now, which I love, is your shows on Thursday.
My little showlet. I decided that I was, it hit me. The whole being at home and having so much just end was really hard. But I also had a couple of health things this past year that kept me down, that were they were trying to figure out my medication. It's been figured out, by the way.
Thank you.
But yeah, I kept passing out, which is not good. But it was to have all that work canceled for so many reasons, because of the health thing and then because of COVID. It was really hard. And when New York went into quarantine, we all hunkering down in March 13th. At first you're watching everything you can. It's like, I'm so excited. I can catch up on Netflix and watch every show I've ever been talked to about. And then I just thought, I need to sing something. I'm losing my edge. I'm losing my ability to sing. And so I decided, I was taking a little class on self-taping. And it was through SAG-AFTRA. And I watched that and I thought, I could do that. I could probably do a little self-taping. Listen, it's what is happening now with auditions and everything. It's you have to learn these skills if you want to be part of the business. And so I set up my phone. I bought a ring light and set up my phone and set up all this. And I mean, what I have is very cursory. It's very primitive, and it works. So now I've upgraded to having a producer. It's so kooky. It's just, I'm enjoying it so much, and I like singing a lot.
It's a delight to see you once a week. I mean, people, please tune in. I mean, that
5:00 Eastern.
Yeah, it's
Thursdays.
It's earlier here when that happens, but whenever it happens, it pops up on my phone or whatever and says, Karen is now live. I'm like, right to it. And then I can hear my husband's computer upstairs. Then I can hear his playing it too. So it's like, we're all watching Karen. But
thank you both.
Well, of course. What's nice about that too is, I give you a lot of credit. I mean, I don't know how you you're just talking to your computer or your phone. Is that what you're using when you do it?
Well, now I'm using my computer. Yeah. Yeah, I was using my phone before, but my phone kept dying.
Oh,
So I'm now using my computer.
well, it's a half hour, I believe, right? You use
Yeah. Yeah,
several
yeah.
songs. We get the entire pattern, and so let me just get back to your genius, and it's in cabaret. In cabaret, you were the first person I went to go see in cabaret. Uh, and I didn't know that it was an actual art form, and it really is an art form. And
Yeah.
I do believe that you created it. That's how in my
Well,
mind,
wow,
I
thank you,
believe,
but no.
because after coming to see you so many times, uh, and if I knew the song or whatever, I mean, I really was concentrating on the artistry that you have and the relationship you were having with the audience, your ability to stay focused in the song, touch everybody's eyes as you're singing. I'm always amazed by it, and you handle an audience better than most, than the people
Well,
that
thank you.
I've been able to go see. And it truly is an art form. And you've done classes, right, on cabaret singing? uh
Well, yeah, more on music, on song performance.
song performance.
Yeah, I think there are people who are better at teaching about how to put together a cabaret show than I. I know what works for me,
Yeah.
but I don't, like Barry Kleinbord is a genius putting these things together. There are people who are much better at that than me. So I defer to them. But when it comes to song performance, I feel like I enjoy that. I enjoy it a lot
Yeah.
to work with singers.
it it's so great that you're able to give that back. I mean, I think that's wonderful. And the upcoming release of Don't Tell Mama tape, what's that about?
Well, thanks for knowing about that.
Well, I do watch you weekly.
So in 2015, we were trying to decide what to do and what club to play, and I really wanted a long run. I wanted something more than one show every 6 months. And so, Barry actually suggested, Barry and Chris Denny, my guys, they suggested, let's go back, maybe Don't Tell Mama. And a few people had suggested that to me, and I thought, Don't Tell Mama was a long time ago in my career. Do I really want to go back? Because in 1983, Nancy Lamott and I opened it. And we were on, it wasn't a double bill because we never really did our show together.
Right.
It was always, we would alternate. But it was the both of us opening the space. And it was a big deal, that brand new, gorgeous space, at the time, was just so beautiful. And cabaret was still it was kind of riding on the edge of that, the 70s, the 60s, and the 70s, when it was really a very appreciated art form. And so for this new space to open up was very exciting. And in 2015, we decided to go back, and we did, I think it was 5 or 6 weeks of performances, and we sold them out. And it was so much fun to go back and do the club and tell stories about its opening. And it was really it was a legendary thing. This club is very legendary now. Everyone knows Don't Tell Mama in New York.
Yeah.
And so we had videotaped the performance. Michael Lee Stever did the videotape. And I had seen it after our shows, and I looked at it and I thought, I don't know. I wasn't sure. But sitting around here during COVID, I watched it, and Michael actually said, you might want to look back at that. Well, he fixed a lot of the color correction stuff. Paul, my husband, went and fixed the audio stuff, and it's a phenomenal tape. It is so wonderful. And I don't say that very often about my performances or tapes of me. You know, it's we're always our worst critics, right? And but this is phenomenal. And so we decided we're going to do a party, a couple of performances of a party where, you know, you make a donation, you pay, and you get to see this performance. We're going to do it on YouTube on October 15th and 17th. October 15th is at 8 p.m. Eastern, and October 17th, which is a Saturday, is at 2 p.m. Eastern. And it's $15. You know, we figure $15 people can afford. You know, it's usually to come to a cabaret, it's like 30, 35, 40. But, you know, this isn't a normal time. And, you know, I really want to have as many people watching this as possible. So I'm so excited about this.
Well, this is incredible. Is it a live showing of this? Is that how that works? Or is it just that's when it's scheduled? Because do you have to get a password to be?
You do. You have to get a password, which will not be given to you until like a half hour before.
Gotcha. So you do that. You pre-order, you do your stuff, you get your thing, and then
right.
At a certain time you have to log in.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And is that? It's not the Facebook. Facebook has some other weird things going on right now too about.
Yeah, I saw that. Somebody told me about that. I thought, oh, that's... like this isn't a hard enough time. Let's, you know.
It's the only thing keeping us going, people.
Right.
So, I mean...
they see dollars and like they're not making enough. But
I know. But, so I want to promote the heck out of that. Don't tell Mom.
Thank you. I will send you all the information.
Please
you
do.
can go to my website and I will put you on the mailing list, which is www.karenmason.com. Go to my fan page or my personal page on Facebook or Instagram. Send me a message, and I'll send you all the information.
Well, we are definitely going to make sure that happens on all of my Facebook stuff. I make sure all of my friends know.
Thank you. Thank you.
So that part's good. So do me a favor. I want to talk to you about all the CDs you have and how people can get them. And my husband was very fortunate to do 2 of your album covers as graphic designer, and he just, it's all he talks about when he's telling people, you know. So he...
Well, he did brilliant covers. They were absolutely beautiful.
Well, you know, his love for you obviously stretches far, and he loves doing that kind of stuff. So you have, how many recordings at this point?
I have 7.
7.
Yeah.
And that includes the... Wonderful Town?
Oh, no. Those are 7 just mine.
7 just Karen Mason.
Yeah. And then the Wonderful Town and all the other things that I'm on. Yeah. Wonderful Town is fun. That's a... Yeah.
We were with you. We went to lunch with you before you went.
Pardon me.
Oh,
it's my agent. Hold on.
It happens. Karen has to take an important call right now.
Hold on, let me just disconnect the phone.
Honey, do whatever you have to do. This is live.
I can't believe that. I'm usually better than this, Keith.
Oh my goodness. So we were talking about CDs. Oh, and Mark and I were in New York. We had lunch with you, and then you were off to do the recording, another day of recording. I don't know how long that takes, but you were going to record Wonderful Town. I remember.
Oh.
And the way, and you walked over to wherever you were going from wherever we had lunch. That's all I know. You're always walking. So
that's what you do here in New York. You always walk.
It was a great recording. We own it obviously, and it's a lot of fun. And I love that you're able to do that kind of stuff too. Also,
well, I mean, look, I got to sing with Rebecca Luker. That voice, that instrument, that personality. I mean, she's
and how lucky
an amazing lady.
How lucky was she to be able to work with you?
Well,
come on, that's what I say. Rebecca.
So my mother would say, yeah.
Yeah, of course. The the uh, the recordings, though, people can order and buy on your website, Karen,
No, absolutely.
and I encourage all of you to do it because it is amazing stuff. And also, it's about time. The video. Karen was so that she included Mark and I in that video. Karen,
Of course we did.
that well, the whole piece put together. Who produced all that?
Well, it was Leslie Alexander who did the compilation and really put the whole thing together for us. Yeah.
Beautiful piece, and
Yeah.
I'll make sure I post that again when this all comes out.
Oh, good, good, good. Yeah, that song I think is so magnificent. I'm so proud of Paul for writing it. He wrote a really magnificent song.
Let's talk about Paul for a second, because what a lucky combo you both are to each other. I mean, Paul,
Well,
you've been with Paul how many years now?
we met in 1991, so 29 years.
Girl,
I know. I can't be that old. What? Yeah, no, we met in 1991 and we married in 1999. I wanted to be married before the turn of the millennium. So
that's always a good wish.
it's good to have goals.
Uh, his influence on your career and is an amazing story too. You know, you have so many people in your life, and the wonderful Christopher Denny. I mean,
Yes.
these are people that you mention them, and Barry, and it kind of, the people who don't get to see them all the time get to hear about them. So I think it's really great that you always kind of help bring them, and you bring them right to the front. You really do, and I think
Well,
that
yeah.
yeah, and
I don't think, an artist, a performer doesn't do it by him or herself,
correct.
And,
And you're very gracious. You're very gracious about always thanking people for that. And
I want to continue working with them, so I'm
yeah,
happy
well,
to read them.
I mean, I know. But so you've been together 29 years.
Yeah.
Seems like yesterday. I remember it. So I've been with Mark now. Well, we just celebrated 37 years. 37.
Get out.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Now, see that it's just amazing to me. And how long have you been married?
We got married on our 30th. So we've been married now 7 years. When we moved out to Palm Springs, he wanted to do it. He did it on the exact day. It was nice. We celebrated on our 25th. We had our big reception that we never were going to have. But then we got married when it became legal. So it was fun.
Well, I mean, hey, listen, it was many generations who thought they would never get married. And here we are, so there is always, it's good to be optimistic and continue to push for change.
Is there any cabaret award you have not won?
Well,
You got what, 13 Mac awards?
13 or 14, yeah.
And then they gave you a lifetime achievement?
I know, that's because they didn't want me to compete anymore.
Oh, they're like,
I'm out.
tell her to sit down. Sit down.
Get out.
Give one of those other girls a chance. But
Yeah, listen, I was around for the first one, so actually before it became MAC, it was called, for 1 year it was called NACAS. It was the National Academy of Concert and Cabaret Artists, NACA. And they got rid of that, thank God. And then it kind of moved into the Manhattan Association of Cabaret and Concerts. And
awesome.
yeah, I've been around for all of them. I've only missed a few, but listen, everybody talks about how every award is stacked. It's a popularity contest, and who cares? I don't mean to demean it. What I'm saying is, it should just be all of us enjoying it. It's not going to make or break anything. just let's all get together and celebrate each other, you know? And I think that's the important thing about all the awards is that it should just be the group of the cabaret community coming together and just celebrating the fact that we're still frickin' here and still working. And, you know, since I got to New York, they've been talking about the end of cabaret. And here we still are, you know, so.
Well, you are one of the pioneers, and I say that lovingly. I don't mean you are one of the pioneers. You have driven, you know, you paved the way for others to come and.
Well, actually, let me put it this way. One of the still living pioneers. You know, there were a lot of people who came before who did cabaret, but it was a different thing. It was always a different thing. And I think, listen, Nancy, my generation with Nancy and a lot of people who are still around who were performing then, you know, not everybody chose to stay and do it, but you know, it's that was a kind of an impactful generation, I think.
Yeah, and you do it so well still that to me it's flawless. I mean, I love it. I love listening to you.
Thank you.
Anything on the horizon? Was anything on the horizon before you? This all came a crashing. Was it just the Candor and Ebb thing? Was the
Well, you know, like I have the couple of shows that you're always hoping are gonna move. Chasing Rainbows, I would love to move.
oh yeah.
That I love that show. I love that show a lot. I love the love that's been put into that show, and it's so much fun. And you know, it was a great moment. They gave me a terrific song and a wonderful because it's using music from the 20s and 30s. It's masterful how Tina Marie Casamento did this. And she took those songs, she got permission to use the catalog from that time to tell the story of Judy Garland up to the time of Wizard of Oz. And the family has written off on this production. They love it, which that doesn't happen very often. So it's a really great show. Great. Dennis Jones did the choreography. He was director choreographer, and the tap numbers, Keith, are out of this world. They are so phenomenal.
You're tapping? Are you tapping?
I do not.
Ah.
Wisely, he did not have me doing any tapping. You know, but I love watching all those dancers. You know, I get to do what I do, but it's not certainly not dancing.
You had some cute photos when you were doing the tour of Love Never Dies with the kids in the show. You did these little videos, and they just looked like they were darlings to work with. So.
Well, you know what they were? They were such great kids, and listen, I don't know technology very well, but I was doing a show with all these young people, and they said to me, you know, if you could do the Instagram takeover this week. And, you know, my first response is sure, because I'm always one to just jump in. And then I realized what it actually entailed. And I asked the kids if they would help me out. And they came up with this really great idea about teaching me how to do Instagram. It's so funny. And we had so many hits on that thing.
Oh, it
was so hysterical. And they, you know, now both of them are like 6 feet tall and, you know, writing musicals and acting and singing. It's like, but I had such a ball doing that show. I was my first tour ever, and I loved it. I would do it again in a second. I would love Love Never Dies to come to Broadway. I think Broadway would love it.
Yeah.
And
were they talking about that at all? Were they talking about that?
They, you know, most everybody, I think they're talking about it, whether it actually happens. You know, I know Andrew Lloyd Webber loves the show, loved our production. And, you know, how easy would it be? We're all ready. We're all looking for work for a him to mount that here, you know.
And
But we'll see, you know.
another one that I got to see you in that was so much fun was Hairspray. Were you in the
Mm.
were you in the company that closed the show?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I did the last 9 months.
Oh, you were wonderful. That whole show was wonderful, and I've seen it a
Show
couple
is brilliant.
times. So. And did Harvey see you do it?
Can you hold 1 second?
I'm holding.
Costco has arrived.
That's right. I need to get Costco, so we're gonna hold here.
Thank God this isn't me.
What I want everyone to know is Karen's Costco stuff has arrived. So she is now able to do something like that.
Steak.
Yes. Oh yeah. We were talking about Hairspray. And
Yes.
did Harvey get to see you in that? Because I'm sure he
I
was
did
there.
it with Harvey. He came in for the last.
That's right.
Yeah. He
When
came back for the last month or two.
I saw
And-
it with the one from Cheers.
Yes.
He was so good.
Oh shoot! What is his name? That's
George
horrible.
Wendt. George Wendt. George Wendt.
Yes, George Wendt.
And you introduced us to him he came and said hello, and you were showing us this little thing you had to be in, or people were in that. I mean, it was, we got to see some of that kind of fun stuff. And that was such a great show. And do you sing the entire stuff? Is any of that taped? Like the big numbers like.
Oh
big-
no. Very few shows tape. You know, unless it's such heavy dancing at
That's
the same
what I
time
was
that they
thinking.
have to sing. Yeah, but no, this show. I don't think this show did. At least they didn't invite me to.
Oh.
So
So you were singing. You were doing all your singing.
I was doing all my singing, yes, in very tall heels and sliding down a pole backwards. I was belting an F. Yes.
It was a great show. It was great seeing that. I thank you so much for taking time today. And
Keith, thank you.
this is it's been, of course, I get to see you once in a while, but this has been
This has been so much fun, and really, seriously, I can't wait to come out to Palm Springs. And I told Paul at the beginning of our COVID thing here, I said, let's just move to Palm Springs. Let's go. I could sing.
It's please do. That's what I'm going to say. Please do.
Well, I hear a lot of people are moving out there now.
It's becoming the place. Of course, you can't go anywhere and do anything right now. You're stuck at home. I mean,
Right.
you're looking at my environment, but we'll get through that. I mean,
Yes, we will. We've gotten through all kinds of stuff. So
I again want to thank you for sharing your talent with us and your time, of course, today, which I know is very valuable. And you've been so busy chatting away. I know I've seen you on a couple different things you were doing, but I appreciate the time here. And please know that sending you my love, especially at this time. Your dear mother was one of my favorite things to come see at a Karen Mason show, because she was her own act, as it were.
she really was. I'm going to miss that one, that woman plodding like this
Right there.
over for me. Yeah.
She copyrighted that, and I gladly do that in her honor every time I see you.
Excellent. Thank you.
But I'm just sending you tons of love right now at this time, and thanks for doing all you're doing on the interweb here, so we still get to enjoy you. And I'm urging anyone who's watching this, please go to KarenMason.com and look at all of the wonderful things you can take home with you to listen. Her entire catalog is amazing, and she is probably one of the nicest people I've ever met in my life, and I love her the most. So
Thank
just
you.
remember that.
Thanks.
So, Karen, thanks so much, and we look forward to seeing you on Thursdays.
Yay!
Okay.
Excellent. All right.
Thanks, everybody. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.